This is C3. No. Oh, that's an F. I knew it was close. Wow, that's an F. It's in key. And I'll be goddamn. I'll be goddamn. Well, I'll be goddamn.
Come check out owlsherbs.com, where we have all of your herbal needs and different variety of products, from sea moss to black seed oil, and a different variety of products for different health issues, because your health is your wealth.
What's happening, brother? What's up, world? Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know if y'all can hear me. I might have to leave and come back. I don't see my thing bouncing when I'm talking. Well, genius, I don't know if okay, yeah, I just saw you muted. If you're speaking, I cannot hear you. I do see my avatar now speaking. And I see here, this is an article that actually I have not read. I am aware of it. Um, so that's very
Hello,
good.
hello. Okay, you should
Yeah, I hear
be able to
you.
hear me now. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
All
you.
right. Cool. Yeah, man. Appreciate you you joining me. This topic is something that reason why I wanted to talk about this is because this is something that kind of relates to what I talk about, and actually what you also talk about and are in the business of, and that is, basically the business of life, a business of life insurance. and also wealth planning, because it's not so much the title might be alluding, it might be, you know, Gen X and millennial into life planning, as far as thinking about that particular generation group. But it's more so two prong. What I wanted to talk about was, okay, so if you're a Gen X or a millennial or even a Gen Zer, you 9 times out of 10, your parents are either a Gen X, or older Gen X, or a baby boomer, or might even your parents might even be um highly doubtable, but maybe some might have parents that are in the silent generation. um Actually, my dad is a silent generation guy, and my mom's a baby boomer. So you've I've already kind of missed the ball as far as these different things that you most likely will give some tips on. But that still holds some weight for some of you guys out there, as far as dealing with your older parents, dealing with any type of, asset issues, or even liabilities, or even kind of end of life care, hospice care, if they need a long term caregiver, those types of things. Those are the things that I wanted to talk about. And then also, yeah, we're not, life is not promised for any of us, and it never was. You should always be thinking about having your own insurance plans, as well as any type of estate plan. If you have any estate, those should be the conversation for all of us, including Gen Z to Gen X, or anybody else that's alive, right? So
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you the floor. This is also what I wanted to talk about. Uh, we are in a great wealth transfer at this time.
definitely. I see here you're gonna force me to go to my computer to
Oh,
bring up numbers and stuff. No, no, no. I'm messing with
okay.
you. I don't
Oh,
mind doing so.
okay.
Um, people always say, "Oh, y'all should listen to this brother. He could charge for this," and I could, but
Mhm.
uh, because of
Yeah,
um,
give me your credentials, or broadcast your links in the comment, because this is for you as well. I mean, this is what you would call evergreen content, so this should be good for a while, unless they change the laws. Um, that then you have to kind of cherry pick. But yeah, put your links out there, man. Spread your business. You know, definitely, spread your links out there as soon as possible. I mean, we
yeah,
got
I'll
time
definitely do
tonight.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do got to run and pick up my wife from the train station a little bit, but I'll definitely either put it on my phone or hop off and come back on.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's only
yeah.
10 minutes away,
Oh yeah.
but
We could.
I
That's part of the discussion. We're part. Some of us are partners. Some of us are looking to be partnered, to put up. I'm trying to find a woman to put up with all of my bullshit. I got a lot
yeah,
of I got a lot of bullshit to put up with, so it's kind of hard to find a little bit,
that's all
somebody.
good.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely gonna talk about that, because typically the missus outlives the mister, um in a lot of different cases. And
Very commonly.
yeah. And yeah, like my grandma, she's in my grandfather's house that he helped purchase. He purchased in the late '60s, and then
Uh,
he passed away a couple years ago, and she's holding it down. She don't want to go in any home or anything. So she want to kind of camp out in the house, just like her neighbor that is slightly older than she is. She's in her 90s. My grandma's in her late 80s. She just recently went to a nursing care, cuz nursing home, cuz she couldn't live in the house anymore. She w- it- you know She aged out of the
You know.
home. Yeah. So the son, her son is like in her 60s, in his 60s, and he was coming over the house last weekend to be in fact to clean stuff out of the house because yeah, she's in a nursing home. Miss Smith. She used to come she used to come outside if the kids walked on the grass, or if you parked in a parking spot in front of the house, she'd come outside and cuss you the hell out. She
Damn.
had no problems. Yeah, man. Miss Smith, boy, she's infamous, man, on the block, man. She'd come outside, man, get off of my grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you motherfuckers.
Yeah, she got off on that, man.
Yeah.
She was in the window trying to see if you got on her grass, but
One of them shit.
and she had like she got a Seville, a 86 Seville, 190,000. No. Only 40,000 miles on that bad boy. Mint condition. And
Old people don't go nowhere.
yeah, she ain't hardly go nowhere. She bought it brand new in like yeah, 86. And yeah, it's just sitting in the garage. My uncle, he like old cars, so he trying to get it, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I can rock it out. I can start reading this article. Um and what I'm saying, I could, till you can get your stats if you want.
Oh no,
This
that ain't.
oh
Listen, I
oh
pull stuff up on the fly. Right
oh
now,
okay.
I'm having me a little toke, and I'm on my phone. To be honest, I was just out joyriding for a little bit,
Uh-huh.
so I had forgot, and then I looked, and it was 9 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, thank God, he's an hour behind me." And
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, man. I was looking forward to this because it's some content that, like I say, we both have a mutual um kind of correlation. Because I mean, my channel is supposed to be a financial channel. It kind of gets ghetto a little bit, kind of gets greasy, but I
but
come
that's
back to it.
necessary, bro.
Yeah,
You
for
know what I'm
sure,
saying? Like,
man.
if you don't mind, I'm a fly a little bit, right? But
Hmm.
in that, and I'm gonna get to the germane points of what you brought me up here for.
Hmm.
Um, but in my professional opinion, especially in our community, right,
Hmm.
I get judged often because, like, I know on my Instagram, right, you
Hmm.
know, I'm I'm not your stereotypical financial professional, right? I'm not
Hmm.
suit and tie buttoned up all the time,
Yeah,
right? I smoke weed, I got shot, I don't hide it. I got tattoos, I listen to rap music, all that shit, right? I curse,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And this is things that they all do, but they hide it from you. Well, I
yeah.
had a homeboy who came to me and he was like, "Yo, you should clean up your Instagram because I mean, I understand and I relate to the street shit, but I'm a
Hmm.
street nigga and I wouldn't fuck with you on business." And
Yeah,
at that exact point, I told him, "Well, that's where you lied
hmm,
because if you wouldn't fuck with me, then you would have just not told me that." The
yeah,
reason you wouldn't fuck with me is because you know me and you don't want me to get to a better position.
yeah.
However, because if I was fucking little
Hmm.
suicide note or whatever these niggas call themselves today,
Okay.
he'd be like, "Oh, yo, your music popping." You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
See, me and you, okay. I really most of the time I deal with exceptional people. You're
Mm-hmm.
an exceptional person. Okay,
Thank you.
you might have had all of those issues, right? But you found a way to continue on and try to have some type of growth. Okay, there's I was kind of watching Alan Roger Curry's videos a few years ago, and he
Mm-hmm.
was talking about bougie people, right? Um, and he was talking about even the fact that he was a frat bro and um, you know, being a Kappa and whatnot, and he was college educated, pretty boy, knew how to mac and talk the panties off of a chick in a grocery store bathroom. Um, he knew a lot of different things, but he had a problem with some of the women he was dealing with because they had a certain type of mold that they wanted from their guy, and that was like basically college educated, degreed. Um, you didn't necessarily have to have any um affiliations as far as frats or sorority or but they wanted some guy to at least have that degree. uh
Right.
a lot of women, um they that are office workers or even degreed or advanced degree, they don't want to talk to a dude that's a plumber, or a construction worker, because those guys are considered, those are menial jobs historically. um those are people that do those jobs are kind of like uh kind of
Look
ghetto
down.
to a certain extent. But I'm gonna play you a guy that, because I did a follow-up video to Alan Roger Curry's video on bougie people.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back to this article. And this guy's pretty much a millionaire. He's kicking ass. Erica Williams, she interviewed him. This
That
guy,
Dan Pena?
this this guy right here.
Living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, second bedroom. Get in the game. What you waiting on? Let me show you.
So this guy here, man, he's hood to the max. I mean, did all kind of stuff on the streets. Went, I think he said he went to the pen for like 10 years or something. Uh,
Okay.
he's what I call a bougie ghetto or
Bujetta.
Bougetto, yeah, like he's still bougie. He
Mm-hmm.
knows some shit. He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's got actually a course. He teach guys how he's into. So there's stages to real estate as well as he's
Yeah.
got that background as well. You got a pretty good background. You just you got some work to do. We all do, but like you got a pretty good background. That a lot of people don't have. So
No,
like,
thank you.
yeah, he's okay, he's into a stage of real estate where it gets advanced. So like typically people start off like the stages of real estate investing is like, in case people don't know, you start off like you could be a bird dog. Basically a
That's what
bird
most people are doing.
Yeah, bird dog, you don't need no money. You don't need to do anything. All you need to do is find deals. Like for example, I know at least one deal right now that I'm working in my head how to finesse, how to make some money off of. I can wholesale it potentially, but I'm just thinking about doing something just as very simply. It's called bird dog. Basically, I know what some properties. I know who the sellers are. I already have their contact information. I can sell that information to a couple people, a real estate broker that sells properties or another wholesaler for a fee for like whatever I choose. It could be anywhere between $500 to 1,000 to 1,500. It depends on the deal. That's like I mean, I'm talking about you in your grandma's basement sleeping on your sister's couch, but you want to get into real estate investment. You start off being a bird dog. Then after being a bird dog, you do wholesaling. Doesn't require any money hardly whatsoever. About about $1,000 to start. And that's including probably getting some type of website, getting some type of phone number, getting certain maybe apps to use, maybe office equipment. Um just general stuff, and then signs, bandit signs, and then literature to market, basically, to just kind of for marketing purposes. And then you just basically scouring people to find if they're trying to sell some real estate. Like you got a lot of people that have abandoned properties. Like Gary, Indiana is a wholesale's dream, because basically it's so many properties that people have abandoned. If you can find the owners of those properties, most of the time they're already abandoned, so they don't really want that much for them. They already sitting. uh if you could, basically get them under contract, give them some type of legal contract. Some states outlaw wholesaling, so that's another legal issue that you have to kind of curtail, such as Illinois. But most states do, you know allow you to wholesale. So you can do that, and then you can actually sell a property at a closing title company, and basically you can get an assignment fee. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
simply, you sell a house. I mean, well, you offer the house to the owner on record for, let's just say, 5 grand. You say, I'm gonna give you 5 grand. The house you put under, various marketing schemes such as Facebook Marketplace, um different like wholesale websites like Bigger Pockets, different other just mediums of you trying to market the property to other wholesalers and investors to sell to them. And then basically you get a lead, you you tell them your price. Basically you like, okay, meet me at the title company with the check in hand, and we can take care of this, as soon as possible. You meet at the title company. The person gives the title, gives the money to the title company. They of course do their due diligence as far as the property. I'm sure the buyer is going to have tons of questions. Long story short, transactions go to the title company. They transfer it, the ownership, from the seller on record to the buyer, and then you, being the middleman, you get an assignment fee. So let's say you sold a house for 20 grand. You had a contract with the buyer on record for 5 grand. You just made 15 grand out the deal. Okay. That's wholesaling. Outside of wholesaling is like basically what you've done, Alonzo, where you can get your real estate license and actually not have to worry about wholesaling. Or you can even take what you learn from wholesaling and do both. With some real estate agents, I heard them, they do that. um
Mm-hmm.
and you could just sell properties and get your broker's commission fee. I what is that, like 7% now, or 10, 7.5, or
6%.
6%? So any property you sell, you get 6% commission. Of course, the bigger the property, the bigger the commission. I know a chick right now that's killing it in Illinois. She's into selling mansions, and luxury estates, and of course, regular properties as well. But she's one of the top real estate sellers for Keller Williams in the Chicagoland area. So um that's one route. And then also, you graduate to that to be your own real estate investor. You got your own capital, you got your own ability to procure capital. Then you go out and buy properties yourself to fix and flip, or long-term hold for rental income. Um, this guy does the advanced form of that. He actually buys land and builds. He's a property developer. He's a real estate developer. So he's ghetto as hell. Okay, but he's successful. I'm pretty sure he's a millionaire already. He's buying property, basically land, and building $200,000 properties on there, selling them for like 300 and $400,000 in Texas. Okay.
Mm.
So that's what this brother is doing. He's ghetto. It's a lot of people ghetto, and they they making money. They just hood. Um,
Mm.
you of course the thing about it is what outshines what makes the ghetto dude or the um let's call him the progressive Pookie bad. What makes the progressive Pookie the bad guy and whatnot is that um you got a lot of other Pookies that ain't doing shit. So every one of these guys, um, it's a it's a thousand that ain't doing much or or may just even just be regular guys that just work at a factory. They haven't really had the success, so and they still kind of dip in and out of the hood shit and whatnot, and
Mhm.
that's what makes it makes this guy a hard sell. But yeah, you got a lot of guys like this, man. My Instagram, I can go to another guy, man. Matter of fact, let me do that. All right. Because that's what
So with everybody going
this guy
crazy,
right here.
trying to get the lowest interest rate, who cares about the interest rate? It's not about the interest rate, it's about the deal. You want to believe that you're getting it for the low, that means it's good. No, it's not. I don't have a single property that's below a 5.25%, 6% interest rate today. And my cash flow is heavy. So I'll give you an example of my cash flow. Yes. I bought the property for 120. Today that property is worth over 450. Okay? I financed on that property $90,000. Okay, the mortgage I owe on that property less than $80,000 today, so that means I already got $300,000 in equity. I spent about $60,000 rehabbing the entire property. The mortgage on that property is $1,170 per month. The first apartment that I got rented out, I was rented out for $1,350. My one apartment covers all my expenses, everything. The next apartment, I get $1,500. So I'm already up $1,600 a month in net positive cash flow. The third apartment, I get $1,900 for it. The fourth apartment, I'm getting over $2,000 for it. This property today cash flows me positive, net positive $5,000 per month. Profit on that one street. With where that property is, I have 3 properties. That's not counting the other ones I have in the other areas. On that one.
Yeah. I mean, another guy that was kind of in the streets, man, that straightened up and flew right. You know what I'm saying? It happens, man. I mean,
Mhm.
even myself, I've had to straighten up and fly right. You know what I'm saying? So, and I am an airman. I'm a Navy airman. So yeah, I know a little bit about that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Straightening up and flying right. But I'm gonna go ahead and start reading this because this kind of pertains to the discussion. So basically, the synopsis is you got some Gen X's and millennials and even Gen Z's that their parents left them a little nest egg. A nest egg will be considered, according to old discussions that in lives that I've had, anything over 20 grand as far as any inheritance is worthy of like discussion, as far as like it's considered an actual inheritance to where you can actually do something with it. You can start a business, you can start some type of side hustle where you can buy some ATM machines or um vending machines or something like that.
Mhm.
It's something that you can actually do. One of my friends, man, that we kind of was supposed to go half in his house, but we that the house that I have now, it didn't transpire truly, but it started off all right. But he actually, his dad was sick at the time, so he was living with his dad, and his dad had a and his mom passed away before his dad. He had like a kind of like a small bed. I mean I don't even want to call it a small house, but it was like a single family home. But it was like
Mhm.
it had some additions to it and whatnot. And it's like a ton of bedrooms in that house and stuff. And he he uh he got left it after his dad passed away, and plus some money. and everything that was in the house, of course. And that was a nice little inheritance that he had. Most black people I know, they really didn't have that much in inheritance. Even myself, my parents, they did not have that much inheritance in their passing. So that is a big deal, So he actually is somebody I know directly that benefited from the wealth transfer. His dad was pretty much a boomer. Um so yeah, he passed away prematurely, diabetes, the whole spiel. And I'm actually, I'm a segue into that. Diabetes actually is a kind of a result of inflammation. And I wanna tell you what I'm sipping on right now. I'm sipping on something that, I'm in the herbs. I'm all over the place, but I'm a herbalist. I'm um I'm sipping on a tonic, okay? It's something that I blended up. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm sipping on, and then this might save some people something that you could it will help you as well, Alonzo. So I'm sipping on um like a couple teaspoons of vinegar, about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic that I put in a blender with garlic, aloe vera leaf, turmeric, ginseng, and yucca. It's something called yucca root. So I'm gonna pronounce that so you could kind of, it's kind of the things that I mentioned. Is the only thing is probably gonna be difficult to find is the yucca root.
Yeah.
I got it.
YUCA, right?
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about here. So I've been doing it. I've been sipping on this for about 24 hours now, and I still got some more left in the blender. And I just been slowly sipping on this, and this is the reason why I'm taking it, because I have a bit of inflammation as well, and I'm trying to kind of doctor this inflammation. And yeah, man, this is just one of the things that um I recommend. You can add to it what you will, but it's like basically that's a combo that I'll post it to my community tab. I'll try to remember
Okay.
that, the actual recipe, in case people can't follow along as far as my words. Some people are more
Visual.
yeah, visual as far as things. So yeah, he benefit my friend benefited off the great wealth transfer. And it's gonna be a lot of people that benefit, as well as people that have already benefited off.
So before you go on,
Okay.
I want to mention something that's germane,
Okay.
especially when we're talking about the great wealth transfer, especially when they're talking here about it changing, my industry. So first, something you mentioned about, not no many black folks that get a substantial inheritance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Less than like as far as black people, I think it's like less than 14% of black people get an inheritance over that 14 that it's like 14 grand. I did a live stream about wealth like 3 years ago, and then I put out a bunch of stats. Um but the thing is like, things like for example, my grandfather died and left a van, you know, a, a little deuce deuce or whatever,
Mhm,
harmonica.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? The house was already it was in a reverse mortgage. So
Okay.
I mean, my grandmother's still living in the house or whatever, but basically the house was not um considered an asset at the time. So
Right.
that's just something that they made an agreement with at the time. But Yeah, man, he didn't really have much to transfer over other than what he gave what my grandmother is entitled to, because
Hmm.
she was entitled to his pension and some other monies as well.
Well,
Um
see, that's where it becomes difficult.
my sister 10 grand though.
Okay.
she,
Yeah.
she ain't give me no 10 grand. Yeah.
She gave you cornbread. No, let me stop.
Yeah,
But
my grandma, man, she's kind of a misandrous. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
I called it out. You know what I'm saying?
All
Yeah.
good.
Mm,
But one thing I notice is, especially with black folk,
mm,
we end up in those situations for a couple reasons. Obviously, one, life insurance, but two, right? Um, we lack the proper planning or even the proper positioning. I mean, the icy while I'm talking, by the way, an Italian icy
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
cherry
Mm,
flavor.
that's cool.
But
The mukbang
there you go, right? But what I've noticed is they also died intestate. Prime example is Chadwick Boseman,
yes.
right?
Hmm.
So we die without a will or a final estate plan.
Hmm.
And then things like the house,
Hmm.
even with a reverse mortgage, don't get considered an asset.
Hmm.
Or things like old 401ks
Hmm.
don't get uncovered, right? I'll give you a brief example and then I'll let you get back to rocking.
Hmm.
Back in 2015, around Thanksgiving, my stepfather-in-law and I were sitting around. Me and the fellas were sitting around talking, was watching football, eating turkey and shit.
Hmm.
And I'm mentioning what I do.
Hmm.
So my stepfather-in-law starts getting interested because I'm talking about annuities and retirement accounts, and I'm like, "Yo, I told y'all it's more than just life insurance and a death check that I do."
Hmm.
But we go over numbers, and he's like, "Hey, how can I find old money, and what can I do with it?"
Hmm.
So come to find out, he had retired, or he not retired, but left BNY Mellon back in the 90s.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, back in the 90s till today, you got 30 something $1,000 in a retirement account sitting there because you worked there long enough to be vested.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what people don't realize, people will usually tell you, oh, yeah, they automatically roll over your 401k. That's kind of recent that if you separate, you either have it rolled over, and if you don't have it rolled over in a certain amount of time, they release it to you and then give you a 1099. That used to not happen. And sometimes that still doesn't happen if you don't process the paperwork swiftly enough. So the company keeps getting the tax benefit, managing your money. You may never ever see that retirement account when you retire if you don't know to put in the paperwork and say, "Hey, I retired." Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So people end up having lost loot that they don't find that they could have passed on,
Hmm.
and they don't sit with someone like myself who knows who, what, when, where, why to call,
Okay,
right? Because
okay. You saying a lot. You know what I'm saying? Dropping a lot. Let me drop some. So basically, you saying that people are actually because I'm trying to put this in layman's terms so people can understand you because they might not be able to grasp what you're saying.
uh
You're saying basically that it's people that have work jobs and they basically have what is called kind of a dormant 401k or something like that, or retirement plan that's just
Yes.
floating around that the other parties may not be privy to after their passing, or even while they even might even be sick, and elderly. So let me the question is, after that bomb drop, is that what can you do to find those retirement plans and stuff? Is there anything that could be done to, like, is there like a retirement plan portal that people can actually search, or a financial professional can search to find any retirement plans that's out there that is vested and just kind of floating out in space?
So a lot of that responsibility lies on the person whom is the account is in the interest of, right? So for
Hmm.
example, you know, you left a job 30 years ago.
Hmm.
It's 30 years later, you're ready to retire. The only way I can even look for it is for you to say, hey, I used to work at Walmart 30 years ago, and I worked there for 15 years, and I thought after 15 years, you know, your 401k was vested.
Hmm.
But when I left, you know, they gave me some paperwork, but like 95% of people, I ain't look at that shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. Some companies automatically invest your money for you, like a certain dollar amount, um on your behalf, like without you even putting anything up. Like my ex-wife, um she worked a job, like she was at a call center for like I want to say 5 years or something,
Mhm,
or something like that. And when she left the company, uh she didn't really she wasn't, she wasn't trying to invest no money in no 401k or nothing like that. So
mhm.
she come to find out, she had a sizable retirement account that was vested by the company, that she didn't know about until HR disclosed after she left the company.
It
So
sounds like she had that's what they call a fringe benefit, right? So a lot of people look for jobs like that. Um, and it's a great selling point. I love to sell those to businesses and small businesses. Thing is this, well, why would they do that? It's a tax write-off to the company,
oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
And it's taxable to you
Hmm.
uh, upon receipt.
Hmm.
So it's something. It's called a defined. Generally, they'll call it either a DB, defined benefit, which they don't do anymore, which is basically like a pension. So defined benefit meaning we're guaranteeing you this amount of dollars until death,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Now what they do is defined contribution or a DC plan. So defined contribution basically is we guarantee we'll put X amount of dollars away on your behalf for X amount of time.
Okay. Okay.
You don't now you can put money in there, but you don't have to. For example, if you've heard of people who work at a municipality, another thing similar to that is a 457,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I worked for Chicago Public Schools for like the equivalent of like a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Within that year, I had like 1,500, as far as like my actual contributions that
Mm-hmm.
was taken out of my check every paycheck. And it was a nice little chunk of change that I used to put into my actual store once I left Chicago Public Schools. So like, yeah, it was It was a nice little set of funds to kind of like get me some things started with my business. So yeah, it's municipal pensions and retirement plans are very lucrative. Um, yeah, a lot of people actually, that's why they work them shitty jobs for the city. You see a garbage man, you know, he's doing it for the money, but he's also doing it for that 20-year pension for him. After so many years, they have to work to get that guaranteed pension. Once they get that guaranteed pension, man, they could, what I'm saying, live it up. you know,
Yeah,
can you chill out in McDonald's and drink coffee and laugh and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I got a client who just he's in his 40s. He works for a major city fire department. Um, and his pension is ridiculous. He already put a half a mil away with me
hmm
before his pension due to the sale of a house.
hmm
Well, his pension is at least another 300,000
Yeah.
that he's gonna, instead of collecting because he's in his 40s, but he's retiring.
hmm
He's going, if he were to collect now, he'd be paying taxes on that.
hmm
So he's gonna wait until his retirement, and so we got that set up. We're doing what, uh, 15,000 a year on life insurance for 10 years, and then after that, he's done paying. But the life insurance continues um, to grow cash value and to grow death benefit that he can borrow against. He's already using the life insurance to buy a $200,000 house in Panama. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
yeah,
This cigar here, um, it's $40. I got it for my
damn.
40th birthday. It's a cigar house. It's called the Biggs Mansion, and
Hmm.
it's like in the north side, a little outside of downtown. And it's a cigar shop like a little smoking area in the basement. And then they got more. Of course, they got cigars that's on the cheaper end, and then even more on the expensive end. In Chicago, it's called Biggs Mansion. I went there on my 40th birthday. Um,
Bro, you
yeah,
balling. I'm spending max $2 on a gar, and that's so I could split it open and dump the guts. Right?
man, that was 2020, man. I was just what I'm saying, getting off of house arrest, and what I'm saying, I can't say I will say I was balling to a certain degree, like on a lower level, because like, man, I'm trying to, like, okay, I still had my Benz. It was still drivable and shit. And
What kind of bends you had? I'm sorry, I ain't mean
it
to
was it
interrupt.
was it was it was like the ML 350. It was an older joint.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love the ML.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to get another. I'm trying to get another Benz, man. I've been looking for another Benz. I'm looking out for one, trying to save some coins. Because I definitely
I've
want
been
another
looking at the
Benz.
CL. I ain't even gonna hold you, but I
Yeah,
don't like speed like that. So,
yeah,
and I like small vehicles.
yeah,
So the Benz I like is the GLA 250 and a regular C 300.
yeah. I know. I think the GLA is the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those are nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm damn near any Benz that do, man. I mean, I pretty much, man. I just like keeping the Benz around, man.
Mm.
Um, that's like one of my favorite cars. But yeah, I literally got to get another one. But yeah, yeah, that night was cool, man. That was a cool night, man. I didn't get laid, unfortunately. That's the only thing
What
I should
bitch
have.
ain't give no brains in the Benz? We gotta go back in
Ah,
time now. Now let
yeah,
me
I
stop.
know, I know, man. I just, what I'm saying, like, I just didn't plan well. I just that's all I could say. I just didn't plan well, and I ain't necessarily had a girlfriend or nothing, but I was getting some that year. I was going to town that year. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, me and the dude that I mentioned that had the wealth transfer, like, man, shoot. 2020, boy, catch some of them cats was catching corona by proxy of mixing fluids. Shit. I mean, for sure, because it was like, man, people was trying to, people was getting it in, man, in 2020, man, for
Yeah.
sure. The corona ain't stopped no action.
Corona increased action. What you talking about, bro?
What's that?
I said Corona increased
Oh
action.
yeah, yeah. I will admit, I think so. I think so because I don't know. I don't know why, but it did. I mean, people were just going ham, man,
Oh, I
especially
know
on
what I'm
social
about to
media.
do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, talking about going ham, you just had me realize I'm about to go boil these 3 eggs because
Hmm.
I'm about to make me some ramen noodles with some mixed vegetables and boiled eggs. I know
Oh, okay.
that's
Okay.
the struggle meal of a motherfucking millennium, right? Lucky ain't got no sausages. You can tell a nigga been to jail, right? No,
Hey, that's like I see people making Korean style ramen and they use the
Mhm.
eggs that's like not boiled.
Nah, I do the
Um,
all the way boiled egg, man. I'm black.
Yeah. I'll be looking at that Korean food with the like egg that is like it's just
Soft boiled.
yeah, it's not even soft boiled. It's like literally a raw egg they put in the ramen, and then all the other vegetables and whatnot, the broth with it. And I'll be like, damn, you had me until you motherfucking put a raw egg in that joint. But I think because it be so hot, the egg will probably kind
Cook.
of somewhat cook itself a little bit. Yeah, I would imagine. But yeah, some people they I've had Korean barbecue. Korean barbecue is
You know, I still
pretty
have it.
decent. Yeah.
You know where? And speaking of barbecue, you been to Kansas City?
No. Nah.
So you have to go and again we're Bougetto, right? So like I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm a uppity ass nigga,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
ain't even gonna hold you, but I'm still ghetto as fuck too, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
but when it come down to it, I'm uppity. Look, you heard how I was talking about Benzes and went specifically to classes and shit. Most niggas,
Yeah.
like you said, a Benz is a Benz, nigga. I don't give a fuck. It's a Benz.
Yeah.
I give a fuck, right? That's
Mhm.
my Bougetto, right? Like, nah,
Yeah.
it has to be a specific Benz, right? For me.
Right. Right. Right.
No, like, I'll say,
Facts.
but like, I'm in the Benzes and Lexuses, so I know the like, but if you was to put me in front of an Audi, I couldn't tell you the difference between an A4 and an A6 and an A8, well, I
Mhm.
could between a Q5 and a Q7, but
Mhm.
you know, I couldn't tell you the difference between Infinity A and Infinity B. I couldn't tell
Mhm.
you the difference between, Honda models or fucking, you know,
Mhm.
Jaguar models or,
Mhm. Right. Right. Yeah.
Porsche models.
Um. I'm in the cars, but I ain't like crazy with it, and I need to be.
Hmm.
Um. I know quite a bit about cars, but I don't know the different models and whatnot.
Listen, we Benz boys, bro, and I just got my driver's license. So, well, I got my driver's license back. So, I'm about to,
Mhm.
since 2006, so damn near 20 years I've been without a driver's license.
Man,
Like,
bro, I had like a 5 year stretch that included while I was in the Navy from like 2000 to like 2005. I didn't have a like I my license was like revoked.
hmm
So like I had to, for some reason or another, they allowed me to get my license back. Had to pay like I had to pay like a $500 fee, um, fill out some paperwork. Then I had to get like what is called in Illinois SR 22. insurance for like 5 years, some shit like that.
Oh damn, they had you on SR-22, that forced insurance shit for bad
Yeah,
driving.
yeah, and that shit is crazy. Like, see, this is why
That's
insurance
the
should.
state fund.
Yeah, insurance is like one of those things where the people on the other side of it, not even the salesman, but the insurance houses,
Yeah,
the
the
insurance
yes,
firms,
the carrier.
they make so much money because I mean it's like so many types of insurances and you got to have it. In Illinois it became because Illinois is actually unique with insurance because you got two of the major insurance firms in the country in Illinois that was started in Illinois, which is State Farm, that started in Bloomington, Illinois, and then
Hmm.
you got Allstate that
I thought
basically was.
Allstate started in Indiana.
No, Allstate was I'm not for sure on that, but I'm pretty certain because see like my business professor in like 1999 when I went to a small college called Parkland College. He was talking about State Farm, and he said his father used to just hear the stories about how the State Farm guys was raking in so much money
Hmm.
from insurance premiums, and they had a problem with so much cash coming in. It was just so much, and his father was just like just pondering that problem. He
Hmm.
was talking about it, and it's like, well, from what I was told, I don't know as far as where they actually incorporated, but um, Allstate was started by two ex State Farm employees.
In
Um,
like a Sears and Roebuck or something, right? I used
well,
to
the
own the Allstate. That's the only reason I said.
Sears and Roebuck actually is a unique story as well. So Sears and Roebuck is actually kind of like
I'm sorry, it might have been J.C. Penney. It
uh
was either J.C. Penney or Sears, but the same thing with State Farm. That's why they have. I think State Farm was Kmart. That's why they have the red and blue colors.
Yeah, they bought Kmart. Well, yeah, you all over the place, but yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sears, no, it's cool. I know business, man. I know business history too, man. If you're a businessman, you should know business history too. So like Sears and Roebuck, actually, the the Roebuck was a black guy, and he was in
What?
partnership with. Yeah, yeah. Let me drop a bomb. So
Yeah, that's a motherfucking bomb for you.
that's why it was called Sears and Roebuck initially. So Sears was the white guys, and it's
Hmm.
like, and I'm all for partnership. Like I would partnership with white folks or white dudes or whatever.
I just
Like a lot,
hired a white guy.
yeah, a lot of businesses they have some type of white. Man, you
I
better
needed it.
damn
I
near.
was like, I need a white guy on my team
Yeah, I
because
need a white guy
I,
now. Shit,
I need a token.
man,
Just
I
like they need tokens. They need a token black. We need a token white.
right, man. I'm just man. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. I mean,
So I was
because
like, I knew my fault. I
no,
was like, I need
yeah,
he ironically enough, how I met him, I used to Uber everywhere, and I
mhm,
pretty much still do because I ain't got a car yet.
yeah,
Um, but Ubering everywhere it takes out of your budget to buy a car, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I always start a conversation with my Uber driver and give him a business card because I'm in the business. People be like, "Who's your ideal client?" Anybody with a pulse. They be like, "No, but really," I'd be like, "No, literally, my nigga, with what I sell, anybody with a fucking pulse."
right, right. Junior college. That's how you can like. All you need to get in junior college is a high school diploma and a post.
Yeah,
That's what one of my college roommates said,
word.
and that's literally all you need. Really,
Yeah.
literally.
I was
Yeah,
like, yo, anybody with a pulse, my nigga, as long as they alive, they are a potential customer for me.
yeah,
Like, Even if they don't buy life insurance, they could buy disability, long-term care, critical illness, car
Facts.
insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance,
All facts.
all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
You
facts.
know, it's
And that's a good
just
way
like
to simply look at it. Like, yeah, like I mean, I'm trying to figure out who's my target audience for my different businesses, and it's like, shoot, even with herbs is pretty much anybody with a post too. You
yeah.
know? But yeah, like yeah. So you finish your story. Uh,
Oh,
oh
yeah. So yeah, nah, go ahead, go ahead. I
yeah.
done forgot. I went off
Yeah.
on a
The
tangent.
the white dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he I gave him my card from the Uber.
Mhm.
He ended up going to my company website saying that he was interested in a position.
Mhm.
And when I was interviewing with him, because speaking with the board of directors on my at my company, because they're looking to move me into management or partnership.
Mhm.
And so right now I am in between. So they call me a managing associate. So
Mhm.
I'm in between being a manager or an associate.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, they do this so you get to decide, do I want to go into being a general agent or not? Anyway, long story short, the board, thank you. The board kind of wanted to keep the company looking a certain way. Um, because there are a lot of firms that are financial services firms that look nothing like us
Yeah.
and don't even have one token of us in the
Yeah.
firm.
Right. Right.
Um, there's one I can mention that's out here in Connecticut that I was thinking of going to and being like, well, since y'all work with athletes, put a nigga on,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, but so I understood his wanting to keep us looking the same way. However, we ain't there yet in terms of the other people on the team.
Mhm.
I'm the I'm the shotter, and
Mhm.
I shouldn't know that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So for me knowing that I'm the shotter, and I'm gonna have that attitude everywhere I go, and there's no problem having that attitude, but
Mhm.
I shouldn't have that attitude and know that I'm that, because now that makes me timid because I can't go in the war because nobody else gonna bust their gun,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So um it makes, it diminishes your top shotter,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So I say, you know what, I need a token, because this token now is just the look of a shotter.
Right.
But
Right.
now he's intimidated. He ain't even got to bust his gun. He looked like, oh, he got shooters with him,
Mhm.
because now I got a white guy. So now they're like, oh shit, you got a white guy, a older white guy, because the white guy in his 50s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And this ain't like some kid.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This is a white guy in his 50s from an affluent area of Connecticut, Cromwell.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, motherfucker, you on my team. You
Mhm.
know
Right.
what
Right.
I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
my token.
Oh,
And
okay.
my
Yeah.
bosses don't seem to want it, but I was like, nah, we need it because this will get me so much further, even in front of our own people. Because
Mhm.
our own people, realistically, that's who I need it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because bougie niggas don't want to give other niggas money,
Right. Yeah.
especially if you
Yeah.
bougie at them.
Yeah, it
They
doesn't
want you
even
to be a
matter. In my opinion, it don't even matter if you bougie. Like blacks, period. They have a certain yeah, like aesthetic when it comes to like other people and their money. I don't really have time to break that down, but they do
mm.
for the sake of
Now
discussion.
I'm wondering where
Yeah.
the hell my wife at. It's 11 o'clock. My fault.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She supposed to call me when she got to the train station.
Mhm. Sometimes, like I take the train a lot. It be delayed. Sometimes well, not a lot of times, but sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Sears and Roebuck, yeah. So Sears bought out Roebuck, and they gave him like a sum of money, and he like sold his ownership, and then they changed the name to Sears. It's no longer Roebuck. Roebuck was the black dude. Yeah.
Well, shit, you slapped me and called me Sally. Shit, I was
Yeah.
learning something new today.
Yeah, I know quite a bit. I just don't have quite a bit of money. That's all. But yeah,
Listen, join the club, bro.
right.
Actually, I do have this thing that I wanna. And real quick, speaking of black men who revamp themselves,
mhm,
I have this thing called LXG that I came up with when I was a kid during, the Dipset days, right?
yeah, yeah,
And LXG, we started it ironically enough right when the movie came out.
mhm,
And we called ourselves Legionnaires, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
mhm,
Now, it started out as just me and my homie. We was trying to do music. It turned into what is now a fucking street gang. And niggas out here in New Haven, Connecticut are running around calling themselves Legionnaires. But they don't use the full moniker, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
mhm.
Now I see how Crips and Bloods happen. Because I don't know none of these motherfuckers. And I don't
Mhm.
understand how none of these motherfuckers got my shit in their mouth. And now they using my shit. And I can't even come up to them and be like, nigga, you don't even know how this shit started.
Right. Yeah, young people follow older people. So like, yeah, I was gonna ask you from that other live stream with Tully, like you was talking about fashion. So they got fashion. Explain the fashion gangs in New York. They got ASAP Rocky is one of those guys. He's in a fashion gang where they be like slapping each other upside the head with like Prada bags and Gucci bags and shit and Louis Vuitton bags. I mean, like,
Well, see, that's commonplace in New York, right? So, like, we was having this conversation on the other joint, and I was talking about Bergdorf Goodman and shit,
yeah,
and you were saying like, don't get me wrong, right? I'm from a rich motherfucking town, New Haven, Connecticut,
hmm,
but it's just like everywhere else in America, right? Where there's a separation of haves and have-nots.
yeah,
So even being from New Haven, right next to Yale and all this money, niggas going to Macy's. If you were shopping at Macy's from the hood, nigga, you had bread,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
Because we were shopping at Marshalls. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah. It's a Ross across the street from Macy's, downtown Chicago, and if it's some shit too high, I go my ass right across the street to Ross and see if they have an equivalent.
Right.
Usually they don't, but yeah, Macy's. I'm Man, my mom and dad made it look easy, primarily,
Mm.
but yeah, like even she didn't make it look easy. It wasn't, what I'm saying, like Macy's and stuff like that. That's like to
But
be,
see, that's common in New York, bro.
yeah, you gotta be liquid, like talking cash in your bank account, or you live in check to check, like my mom was, but uh, you should have probably to shop at Macy's comfortably. Let's just give a ballpark. You got saved anywhere between 5 to 10 grand, um, liquid savings. Um, to shop
Bro,
at
let me
Neiman
put it to you like
Marcus,
this.
I would say you need at least 10 to 20 to be able to go in there and actually be able to shop like I'm talking
Hmm.
a bag full of merchandise or a couple bags.
Yeah.
And that might still not be enough. I mean, you might need about 50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talking a couple bags, that's a shopping
Y-
spree.
Yeah,
But
that's
again,
what I'm
in New
talking
York,
about.
think with all relativity, because things are so expensive, shopping at Macy's doesn't seem out of the norm.
Hmm.
But then again, you're also looking at a place where you got cans of soda for $2.
Well, you know what? That's like that here. That's like that here. Even in Gary, Indiana, I go to the go to the go to Rafiq or Rashidi or go to Raja or you know Punjab. They got sodas for like $2. Yeah. The canned sodas is $1 though. Like ain't the can like you talking about the canned sodas or the
Yeah, no, the canned sodas is $2, my guy.
ah shit. Yeah. Y'all got us beat by $1.
Yeah.
Ain't no
Canned sodas
like
ain't been $1 for a while, my guy.
like
Canned
that.
sodas ain't been $1 since before the 2010s.
The only way that the canned sodas are probably $2 is downtown Chicago in a loop. You know what I'm saying? Cause everything's a premium down there.
Nah,
So
canned sodas in the hood $2, guy.
shit. Hell no. Canned
Canned sodas
sodas
in
in
the
the
hood
hood in a
$2.
bodega.
Yeah.
Shit, it's $2. Wow. What about like a pizza slice?
You can still get the dollar pizza, well, $2 pizza slice, even in
Okay.
Manhattan. But
Oh.
you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's certain shit about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you getting a cheap slice. You smell me?
Yeah. It yeah, it's this chick she was talking about New York. She said she moved from I don't know where the hell she said she moved from. Um she moved to New York. But she was talking about it. She was like, basically I survived, but can't go nowhere. Ain't got no money really to really party like you really want to.
Bro, you
Everything's
gotta be
so
making over
expensive.
100 grand to live in poverty in New York.
Over 100 grand to live in poverty. Whew. I mean, like, so, like, okay, they pay more though, right? So, like, I had, okay, my last gig, the team was based, or the company's headquarters is based out of New York, Diageo. So the techs that worked in New York, they got paid more than us, other folks, because the cost of living over there is more expensive. You know what I'm saying? So they got paid a little bit more. But even the cats that worked out of the World Trade Office or whatever, they and it's tripped out, man. I'm a 9/11 veteran, and I work for a company that had that had offices in World Trade. But I mean, like, basically, they didn't even live in New York. They lived in New Jersey, and they would commute from New Jersey to World Trade Center building. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, that that like, the dude, he even showed me, he was like Pakistani. He showed me where he lived, like, near where he lived. He lived in like the hood part of New Jersey, where, like, you know what I'm saying, it's like New Jersey Drive, and basically uh he could afford to live there, but even that part of town was getting high as far as things. He must have
It's
picked up
crazy,
his
bro. I'm gonna send you a video of a property that I was looking to buy in East New York, Brooklyn. You heard of East New York because of Uncle
yeah,
M,
yeah.
right?
Is
The
that the
property I was
same
looking to
one
buy.
that you sent me last time, or you showed
Um,
on your live stream?
I
Or
don't know. I have a lot of properties in East New York because what happened was, so when people talk about shit like gentrification, they fail to realize that gentrification has more to do with wealth than with race.
yeah, yeah,
Why do I
yeah.
say that? Because I was part of gentrification, my nigga. Not only in the fact was it that I like I like fucking coffee shops and shit and wine shops and shit, right?
Hmm.
So that was part of gentrification.
Yeah.
Another part of gentrification was I was part of the reason the rents was going up because I was selling real estate. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And niggas my age wanted certain shit around our neighborhoods. And
Hmm.
so we was willing to spend certain amounts of money for certain shit because certain businesses will be getting built up or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that shit's real.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much like that's how I am here in Gary. I'm definitely a gentrifier.
Mm,
I'm on the opposite end or the gentrifier side of things. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Raising the property values up $1 at a time.
yeah.
Uh, and I'm doing a small portion of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Very small portion of it. But yeah, I was thinking about because I'm in the Ayurvedic medicine,
mm-hmm,
and part of Ayurvedic medicine is it's meditation, yoga, massage, acupuncture, and as well as like herbs and tonics and stuff like that. So
mm-hmm.
like I was thinking about, man, shit, getting a massage parlor or like a massage. No, not a massage parlor, but a spa. Opening up a spa in Gary, Indiana, right? And I'm okay with expressing these things because if somebody actually does it or beats me to it, I would probably go there because I haven't looked it up yet, but I don't know if there are some spas in Gary, Indiana, but where you can go get a spa treatment, get a massage, um might have like um some type of kind of I forgot the name of that a sauna. Yeah, have a sauna there. Yeah, like I was thinking about that, and that's definitely some gentrification type stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it's just a thought. It's not necessarily something that I'm very serious about. Um but yeah, let me
I'm
know when
listening.
let me know when you're ready to read I'm gonna start this article. And I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to show a couple slides, and that was it. I mean, it wasn't nothing major. I just wanted to basically the points that I made that I was gonna make is basically just it's kind of tips as far as end of life planning for your parents as well as yourself, and also estate planning, as well as like some stats as far as things is concerned
Oh,
about
I got some
insurance.
stats and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm throwing on gear right now. I'm about to get
yeah.
ready to hit the road
Oh,
and just
okay,
go wait at the train station for the wife. So
okay,
what I'll do is I'm gonna just put y'all in the headphones
okay.
and let y'all ride with me. Let me turn off my Wi-Fi, so I might have to hop off and come back. Give me
Yeah,
one
yeah,
second.
it's cool.
Let me
I'm
do
I'm
that
gonna
right
start
now.
reading this though. While you doing that, I'm gonna just get into reading this. Okay. All right. So this is from Forbes. This is dated March 9th, 2023. The great wealth transfer will radically change financial services. So that's kind of what you just mentioned that actually. Um, so Alonzo just mentioned that. So like it says much has been written about the monumental change on the horizon known in the financial services as the Great Wealth Transfer. Over the next 2 decades, parents and grandparents are expected to pass down trillions of dollars, approximately 84 trillion by one estimate, to charities and younger generations, particularly millennials and Gen Xers. This will drastically shake up the financial services industry as players jockey for position with beneficiaries. It is important to acknowledge that the Great Wealth Transfer is not a static event, but one that will be impacted by swings in the economy, technology, and culture. The ability for financial advisors and wealth managers to compete will depend on how prepared they are to address inevitable changes. From my perspective, here are three trends to keep in mind as the great wealth transfer plays out. Okay. Before I read that, let me put this particular article in the chat so you could read along if you want to, if you choose to do so. So, the three trends to keep in mind is number one, technology will be integral to helping families manage estates effectively. Okay.
Can I
Um,
chime in on that right there?
sure, sir.
So that, right, because it talks about the effect on financial services professionals. And so technology has a big effect, right? So,
Hmm.
like, I'll give you an example. My firm is full of what we call old timers, right? I'm one of the youngest agents at my firm, being 39, right?
Okay.
And even the industry itself, that's fairly young for this industry, believe it or not, right?
Right.
So, what happened is you got guys, especially older black guys, who are technology averted,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
they didn't like things like having to get on Zoom meetings and shit. Whereas for me, my career has gone upward because of it, right? Because
Yeah.
now I don't have to spend 2 hours driving to somebody, right? I just go on Zoom. If you don't show up for your meeting, click next meeting,
Hmm.
right? I don't have to spend 2 hours driving to you. Then you be like, oh, I forgot about the meeting, not show up. Now I got to
Hmm.
spend 2 hours driving back. That's a day wasted, right?
Right.
Um, Little shit like that. I know guys who have actually left the industry in 2020 when the pandemic started, and we had to go through nothing but Zoom meetings. They say, you know what, I quit. I can't do this no more.
Hmm.
And they stopped being financial advisors because they couldn't adjust to the technology, right?
Right.
Whereas these millennials and Gen Zers, I
Hmm.
have so little of a problem. You know what I don't hear? Oh, I want to talk to you in person. I want to come sit down with you in your office. For what?
Hmm.
You sitting in front of me ain't gonna give us no different information than you looking at it on the screen,
Yeah.
right?
To see the boogers in my nose will not make a difference.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Or you'll get people, oh, they think sitting with me is gonna make me not swindle you. If I'm gonna swindle you in front of you or not.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If I gotta sit in front of you and scam you, then I could, if I'm gonna
Right.
scam you, I'm gonna scam you in person or not.
Right. Right. Definitely.
um,
Yeah.
so there was that aspect, and then even things like people are averted to giving their numbers and stuff online, right? So now I've even invested in something called Planswell, where people could just give their numbers through technology. My fault, I
Okay.
ain't mean to butt in, but I like to try and give commentary from
Hmm.
the perspective. It's kind of like
No,
watching
you're
ESPN.
an insider. You're an
Yeah.
insider. I'm talking about this from a perspective of someone that's knows a little bit about finance. You're actually an
Okay.
insider. That's why I was saying from the start. You're a value add to this discussion. Because
All
I'm
right.
not
No
I'm
doubt.
not
Yeah.
I'm not selling insurance at the moment. You know what I'm saying, or
Got
any
you.
financial tools at the moment, other than my book. Pretty much that's just about it. And then and
Yeah.
then I
Savings plan.
yeah, and then I will, like, if somebody wanted to consult with me, my consultant rates are very, very cheap. I can tell you from advice of a 42-year-old man that is a Gen Xer, some type of, steer you in the right direction to where you don't get hit by the car. I mean, OG is valuable. You know what I'm saying? And it's someone that's your elder is valuable. You know what I'm saying? Don't never get it twisted. These guys talking about these old niggas or whatever the hell they talking about. They gonna be, time doesn't stop for none of us. They gonna be the old niggas that they talk about. You know what I'm saying? So it's
One of these days.
yeah, it's stuff that You know what I'm saying? You only got me by like 3 years, so it's not that much different. Like E.T. came out and you was born. You know, shit. When I first, that was the first movie I went to go see with my mom. It was E.T. I was like 3 years old, so I was like 83. So like basically, ain't that much apart. Um, you know what I'm saying? So it's like pretty much you're an older you're an elder millennial. You like Charles Faulkner. Charles Faulkner only um yeah, he's like, I think he's like a year younger than me. He just missed the cut by like a year to being a Gen Xer. You know what I'm saying? So he know everything that I know. You the same. 8-track tapes, rotary phones, uh what else? Freaking VHS, Betamax. I mean, Nintendo,
Damn,
where you
bringing
had
it
to
back.
where you got to blow in the cartridge. You know what I'm saying? Duck Hunt, Mario Brothers one, ancient Mario Brothers. You know what I'm
Damn,
saying?
old school.
You know what I just found out after 42 years old, man. You actually Duck Hunt, you could use two controllers with Duck Hunt. So apparently the second controller um was to handle the bird. You could actually move the bird around with the second controller. Never fucking knew that shit, man. Never knew it. But yeah, like, what else? Blockbuster Video. Before even Blockbuster, it was just like mom and pop video shops all over the place. Um, I used to like I used
Dig
to
tracks, I remember that.
I used to, pagers, you know what I'm saying? Like I would do like this is what people do with their kids, right? If you got kids, you should do this, right? So you should have like competitions to where they have to do certain things, right? So they have to learn, they have to give them a not give them a cell phone, give them a rotary phone, and then like each task they get like $10 or something like that, right? So you give them a rotary phones, like, hey, you got to call this number here.
See, I would do some shit like that.
Yeah, like you got to call this number here. Okay, for another $10, you got to call this pager or whatever. Like, and actually, people still use pages. Old school doctors that still out there in the field, they still got their old school pager that they probably bought an 8 ball back in '84, but also responded to an emergency situation at the hospital or sold an 8 ball. I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Shit, I bet you some doctors was on some packages back in the day. So, but yeah, man, people still using pages. People still have pages, like, you know what I'm saying, you probably gotta do some work for that because you actually have to have a fucking actual pager. So that won't be kind of difficult with an active service. But yeah, I had like 3 or 4 pages. I got good at finding pages. I don't know, like all of a sudden I used to just be I would always, when I walked, I would always look down. People think I would be depressed. Maybe to a certain extent. But I was actually looking for shit too. Like, I would find pages and then I would take it to the video store. There's a place called Pro Visual in my hometown that I grew up in. They sold pages. So any page you find, you get them they'll give you $20 for it. Back in back in like 95, that was a lot of money, for a high schooler. In high school, $20. What? That was a lot of money. So I used to find pages and then go up to that video shop. But yeah, like certain shit, like they gotta uh they gotta be able to rewind a VHS tape. And they got 30 seconds to do it. Like these little tasks, you know what I'm saying, that from that era. But yeah, all of that aside,
That's some
we
shit right there, man.
yeah.
Remember the color? I had to stay on mute because I had the cops behind me, so I didn't want to see them. I didn't want them to see me with the phone in my hand.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all good.
but yeah, man, the color change pages was the shit, man. We used to change the clips and shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but and what if you know what? I'm gonna be mad as fuck if she tried to surprise me. I hopped on this fucking shuttle. I'm gonna choke my wife.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I just didn't marry like the next woman that I will marry for sure will be a genuinely nice woman. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That's what people forget. They keep talking about they want a bad bitch. Well, and then they end up getting with a bad bitch.
bad bitch.
she's actually bad for you in all
And she's a
aspects.
bitch.
Yeah, right. And she's also a bitch. Right.
So
Never,
yeah,
be careful what you ask for.
you might just get it.
Right. So like, yeah, man, I'm getting me a nice wholesome librarian, man.
Nigga said I'm getting me a nice wholesome librarian, boy.
Yeah,
I ain't
man. So
even playing.
yeah, man. But man, this tonic, man, this joint, man, make you feel so good, man.
Man,
Man, boy, and when I say so good, I'm talking about your whole body. You gonna be like, God damn,
single.
baby. I'm gonna have to make this short, man. I gotta go tend to the lady after you drink this shit, man. I was, I was thinking about this chick on the train, man. I got a sucker for I'm a sucker for AKAs, man. This
Okay,
thick,
I
this
ain't
thick
mad
A
at you.
this thick AKA joint was on my train, man. I want man, shit. She was looking too, man. I'm a motherfucker
Hey,
slide
hold
in.
on. Let me I'm gonna
Yeah.
hop off and call you right back.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, call you right back. Hop off and hop back on in 1 second and
All
call
right.
the wife. All right, I'll
Okay.
be.
Okay. So number two, with this the trends after technology is large banks have unrivaled budgets and are investing heavily in digital transformation. Okay, that's kind of pretty much what he said as far as well. And that kind of goes into technology. So thirdly, as far as trends with the greatest wealth transfer, is that fintech brands are rapidly gaining market share, particularly with younger generations. Um, yeah, that's something that I've seen. There's different like fintech companies out. It's a lot of fintech companies out there that you never heard of. I'm gonna just say this, okay? This is an assignment for you all listening. There is a lot of startups, um fintech companies included, that you don't know that exists, and some of these companies might be pivotal for your success. You just don't even know they exist. um so like for example, I'm still trying to figure out the whole marketing deal. There's certain startups that actually consist of CRMs, which is called CREMs, that helps you manage leads and prospects, and different like planning and goals. There's another company called Notion, that is just like a free CRM that some people use as well. It's called Notion.so. So it's like tons of like startups that basically you don't know that exists. So like it's just quite a bit of stuff out there, you know. Uh, this is another company here that it actually is kind of goes into what I'm talking about. This is called IFTT. Okay. So basically, this is like automated um tools that you can use, right? And basically you could use it on a platform and you could also use it on mobile. So for example, um this here, generate a draft blog post for a topic, right? So let's try this, right? So you'd have to log in to do all this, but this actually has the capability of what it's saying, generate a draft blog post for a topic. Then it has an AI content creator, but this is like for the pro. You'd have to pay like $2.50 a month, which is very cheap, by the way. So like, you know what I'm saying? Um, I've known about this site here, but you know, it's just so many startups, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at some other things, right? So if you use Salesforce, you know, you could create a Google Calendar Salesforce event by just connecting your Salesforce to Google Calendar. You know what I'm saying? Just click boop boop, and then you just got to log in and do it. You know what I'm saying? So these are automated tasks that you could set up. You know, I don't use Salesforce, but um, some of these might be relative to what I actually use, right? And it's just kind of cross-platform. You could use it with different things. Um, this is just like one of many, many kind of like tools you can use, that has automation capabilities, you know what I'm saying? So uh this is it's quite a bit of it is so many startups out there. It's just quite a bit. So many tools out there that you could utilize, and it's some of them are free, some of them start off free, like Chat GPT. It started off free, right? Then they start charging. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. So that's one article. I'm gonna open up another article where it talks about how do Americans spend their money. Okay. So basically, we're in a situation where the silent boomers, the greatest generation, the boomers are dying off. They're passing on. Generation X is passing on. Actually, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Um, some Gen X's are passing away. Like some of my classmates, man, they've no longer here. You know what I'm saying? They gone. They got sick, or this one chick, like, she got in a car accident with her boyfriend. Like they was in Atlanta, I think, or somewhere, and they got in an accident, and they gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think she had a kid or one kid or two kids or something like that. She died. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was very popular. So you could tell when somebody's popular, right? They got all of these people posting about them on social media. Um, you got a lot of people that actually died. It's kind of even more dark, but how about a lot of people died and they still have social media accounts? You know, that's tripped out, right? Um, so like the kids, they take over those accounts. The kids can authorize from Facebook, or so, whatever, Instagram or whatever. They can get those accounts and utilize them to, like, just do daily reminders, kind of how like Kevin Samuels, his daughter is managing his his estate. So Kevin Samuels is an icon. It does matter that he died, but how about this? Let me tell you something about an artist that, he died, and he got his works of art and his name lives on to this day and is like millions of dollars. His art that he wrote, I mean, he drew in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? These art pieces are worth millions and millions of dollars in auctions. Kind of show you what I'm talking about. So this is John Mikhail Basquiat, right? So this guy, man, he made a whole bunch of art pieces. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really, as far as I know, did well while he was alive. As far as what I've told, he was I don't remember how he died. Anything. He was homosexual or whatever, and I don't really know how he died. Maybe if somebody's listening, they can chime in and put that detail into perspective. But all I know is after he died, his artworks became, you know, something that became more valuable. And then to this day, um, his art is sold at auction. If you have one of those pieces are collector's items that are worth in the tens of millions of dollars. Um, that's how Kevin Samuels is. Like fortunately, people still know this man. They listen to his videos to this day. They still are trying to um copy some of the examples of his advice as far as perfumes, dress, um even glasses. you know um I remember when I was getting some frames because my vision is kind of somewhat cloudy, and I don't have like strong vision, but I don't necessarily need to wear glasses 24/7. But I got frames, and um the frames did help me a lot. But I made sure I got some very stylish frames. And chick at the optometry office was like, "You trying to give me these little bland frames?" I'm like, "Man, I want these frames. I want these Prada frames, and get out my face with all the other goofy shit you trying to recommend me. I want these frames, you know." And you know what I'm saying? That comes to mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? The man was also in the frames. He had quite a few different frames and stuff like that because he was primarily a 100% glass wearer or whatever. So his success, man, was short lived, but you know, very much so that his daughter could definitely get into some of the things that I perceived that he was going to most likely get into, as far as branding deals for his name, like his namesake, right? For example, obviously cologne. I mean, Kevin Samuels cologne is definitely in the works. You got to believe it. Uh, don't be surprised. Kevin Samuels suits. Um, Kevin Samuels frames. I mean, dude is pretty much a martyr, an icon. You know what I'm saying? And people got tattoos with his face and stuff like that. And I definitely, I was fortunate enough to, kind of be in the same, video discussions and stuff online on YouTube with him. And I mean, it was amazing to see somebody that just kind of in the same circles just take off like that. I was amazed. I was just sitting back like, wow. Some people didn't like it. you know People were pissed off. You know what I'm saying? um and I understand that. it sucks to be broke. It sucks to be broke, man. Um, it just does. It always will. When you don't have a lot of money and somebody else does, and then somebody that you really know, that you know really well, and you even probably talk to, I didn't necessarily talk to him or anything like that, as far as like we had, you know, personal discussions, but it's people that actually were interacting with him offline, phone calls, emails, the like. And some of those people was not happy, you know as just in general, or indifferent, about his success. And it was very, very present. A lot of those people have egg on the face now, and they already made their positions. Some of the people, um, walk back on it. But yeah, his success and his namesake is still, it could be marketed. Um, so yeah, kudos to his daughter, for anything that she's working on, with that. Uh, so yeah, I mean,
Okay, how much do you weigh?
220.
I weigh 210 and I'm 6'4". You broke the first rule. See, you ladies don't mind breaking the rules. The men are visual. The men want women that are fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. I don't mind being the size of, I'm sorry, you're 5'8"?
I'm 5'8".
You're about the size of Emmett Smith or Barry Sanders was. You're a running back size.
Okay.
You can hit the A gap like a motherfucker.
Okay. All right. I accept
So don't
that.
come in here talk about what men should not be able to do when they got to accept somebody who can run out the power I.
Okay.
I mean,
All
I'm being
right,
silly.
But at the same time, no. A lot of chubby dudes, so.
so yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying, man. All those little clips and shit, man, legendary. Gonna be around for years. I mean, for sure, for sure. But this is moneyest. Actually, this is an infograph from Visual Capitalist. And the article is, how do Americans spend their money by generation? So this is very good data. This is a good data for any person that's a salesman, any person that has a business, any person that's into any type of job where they require sales and they get commission. This is some pretty good information. So this is actually silent generation. As silent generation is 1945 or earlier. Then the boomers is 1946 to 1964. Generation X is 1965 to 1980. Millennials is 1981 to 1996. Gen Z is 1997 or later. And then you have to, after them, you have Generation Alpha. Okay. Generation Alpha, I believe, is like after 2014 or something like that. But those are primarily the generations people look at. Um the data for Generation Alpha, people are still working on that. But the reason why generations and demographics are important, as far as study of generations or whatever. um People have different trends, you know. um One of the things is that what's going on now, right? um Walmart's across America are closing up shop, as far as certain stores and certain communities. You ask yourself, why is that? Okay. Then I saw an article that Target is following the trend somewhat, and they're starting to close. They're going to be closing their stores. Okay, these are multi-billion-dollar corporations that have stores all over America. They're downsizing. Well, the obvious reason why they're downsizing is people are, kind of bored with Walmart, right? They're not they're not going to Walmart like that. And some people, they might not like going to Walmart anymore. I mean, I'm not one of those individuals, but there's some people that just like, I go to Walmart, I can't find any service. I basically have to be my own customer service representative because, I go to Walmart and then everybody's on the phone. you know I basically you can say I've worked with Walmart as far as installing check cashing lanes, self checkout lanes. um Walmart is a glorified self checkout warehouse. You go in there and then just go self checkout. You don't really need to, you know where everything is pretty much already. You can find it. um you do need some some probably support to get certain things, maybe if it's behind a locked glass. But if, as long as it's not, you can just basically get the stuff and then check it out yourself. You don't even really even need people in that regard. You just need one lady to make sure that, or woman or man, to make sure you ain't stealing nothing when you go through the checkout lane. But then here's the problem. That's See, here's the problem, right? Every solution is a problem behind you creating you creating a problem with that new solution, right? So the first solution was basically they um they wanted to install these self-checkout lanes. So then next thing you know, what happens after that? So now you reduce your what cashiers, and you reduce your manpower, because cashiers can actually, they can actually get training on how to stop theft and stuff like that. Some of those training videos people have to watch when they start a job, when they work at Walmart. I used to work at Sam's Club, um like back in 1999 when I was in college. But basically, you got less manpower, so you got what, two or three people that's at the self checkout lane and a manager floating around. So now people just came in like, oh, self checkout. Just go through the self checkout, TVs, a whole bunch of stuff they want in the Walmart, and then go on and just walk out the store. And ain't that many people there to stop me. So then I'll just, walk out. And then they just start having these issues, as well as people are not shopping there, because they like, okay, do I really need to go to Walmart? I don't I don't need to go to Walmart. So basically I'll go somewhere else. I go to Family Dollar, I go to Dollar Tree and get what I need. You know what I'm saying? So it's like uh it's basically those are some issues that people um you know shows to do, and not go to spend their money at Walmart. And the same thing for Target. So that's one aspect of it. Is other aspects of it as well. But where people spend their money in generation habits, there's different habits. I'm not a baby boomer. I'm not a silent generation. I'm not a millennial, even though there's very similarities to millennials and Gen X because it's so close, right? We were born very similar around the same times. So you got older Gen Xers that may not be that similar to millennials, because you got, Gen Xers that were born in 1965. I don't Only thing that I have in common with somebody born in 1965 to like 1970 It's like maybe I know some of the songs from the 60s and 70s because my mom used to play it. I mean, other than music, it really ain't. I really don't have that much in common other than I'm in the same generation as an older Gen Xer. I mean, we can count gray hairs. Other than that, that's it. Like, I ain't really got that much common with an older Gen X that pretty much was around when Woodstock was still going on and shit. Like, I don't really have that much in common. I mean, they were in college when I was in grammar school. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's they're technically a lot older, right? So the thing is that these people are different all across the board as far as generations because they have different spending habits. Silent generation, um and great and before silent generation is the greatest generation. So like my grandmother's in the greatest generation. She came up before TV was even really popular or everybody had a TV in the house. She came up when people had radio. So guess what she listens to a lot? The fucking radio. Ask me this. Who do you know that plays a radio in their house? A freaking radio. You know what I'm saying? Like hardly anybody you know of plays a freaking radio inside their house. But older people from the greatest generation and probably even silent generation, those are their habits. They're gonna play a freaking radio in their house because that's what they had. They didn't even have a TV. So it's little stuff like that. And they're able to stay in the house a lot longer than everybody else because it was a time where they survived polio and shit like that. You thought the coronavirus was bad. Let me show you what polio looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw this shit when I was younger and I was like I was like, wow. I was talking to my mother about it and I was like, whoa, this is what y'all went through? Cuz I mean, it was crazy. So let me show this real quick. So you thought coronavirus was bad, right? Oh, polio. Who we? You ain't seen nothing yet, man. A lot of people had polio. They got polio, right? So polio was around, pretty much in the 19 in the mid they say mid 20th century, so around 1950. It got big, right? So how did it start and all of that stuff? I have no idea, but it was around. And basically, if you got sick, you had to get in one of these little like contraptions here on the right where they had to put you in this machine, and then a lot of times you was gonna have some type of deformity to where you couldn't walk, to you where you had to get on a cane, kind of like um where you was just basically going to be in a wheelchair or something like that. So it was like, what I'm saying, they went through stuff like that, including World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam War, which was pretty bloody. What I'm saying, they done went through a lot of stuff that we we look at it as this rough, but if you really compare it, it's not as rough as what other people have went through. What I'm saying? Even the whole civil rights thing or the racism, right? So the racism now is somebody might call you a nigga, even though I haven't gotten called, but I haven't gotten called a nigga by white folks in a minute. But I don't necessarily look for it. I ain't trying to. I ain't really trying that hard. But I haven't. It's been a while since I've been called a nigga. It's been like, damn, I ain't been called a nigga since like the 90s and shit. Like it's been a long time, man. I've been called a nigga. And that was the extent of it. And then I might have had to knuckle up from time to time, with some white boys when I was younger. But you go back to the 50s and 60s. How about, you know, not so much you getting called nigga and go back to Africa and stuff. How about shit? Your ass can get hanged by a tree, and the people that did it can get away with it, or but you can get mutilated, like basically I forget the names, man. I sometimes I'll be having a brain fart, but the guy that from Chicago that was whistling at a white, yeah, Emmett Till. You can get mutilated, you know what I'm saying, and they can get away with it. You know, that happened in the 19 I think that was happening in the 1950s. But like it was like shit like that, hanging from a tree and um, you know, being able to, you know, not get jobs and shit and all that. Like you had to be a shoe shiner and certain jobs like you can I remember reading a paper in one of my grandmother's papers because she's kind of a hoarder. She like to save stuff, so she one of the things she saves is old newspapers. I remember reading one of these old newspapers from the 1950s in the Chicago Tribune. They actually had in the ad no Negroes, as far as the job ads, and looking for Negro only, for a nanny or a maid, like it was certain shit that what I'm saying you really didn't want to have to deal with, what I'm saying, like you might think that the older people have it good now, but they didn't have it good back in the day. Like you don't want that parts. Like you didn't, what I'm saying? You couldn't drive through certain towns. You get pulled over, you might be that might be the last time that you ever drive a car and actually live. You know what I'm saying? It was just a lot of stuff like that, man, that you gotta think about like, damn, yeah, you talk about all of the other people can buy a house for 7 grand. Well, some of the people were able to buy those houses for brand new house for like that's move-in ready for like $2,000 and stuff like that. Buy a car for like uh $500 and it was brand new. Like, I mean, yeah, some people couldn't even afford that back then. They didn't have nothing. Like, you know, it was rough, you know what I'm saying? And they couldn't even afford the house that it was $2,000. It was only a few people that could afford it. And how about black people couldn't buy certain houses in certain neighborhoods because they had to make a federal law to actually be able for black people to be able to buy a house in certain neighborhoods. And it still was challenged to this day. It's even challenged, right? So they had to make federal acts to make it illegal to discriminate on housing. You know what I'm saying? You had to, if in order to buy a house in a particular neighborhood, you had to basically get what I got, which was a land contract. And it wasn't because you had bad credit or didn't have the money. You couldn't get the house. They didn't, the mortgage company wouldn't give you a house. It wasn't no, oh, I ain't got no 580 credit score or 620 credit score. No, you can't get a house. What are you doing walking in this bank? Who do you think you are to even try to apply for a mortgage and for this particular neighborhood for this house? Realtors like, why are you calling me about this house? You can't live here. Like it's like little stuff like that where you don't think about. You just think about just, random shit about all the price of a house and the price of college, you know, and not all of the other intangibles that you was gonna have to deal with during that time frame you know so yeah, it's kind of nuances to that, right? But in all, when it comes to different expenses, what people spend their money on. This is from 2021. Silent generation. Um, they're spending their money across the board. Most of their money, it looks like. Let's look at this in detail. So they're spending about 37% of their money on housing. They're spending 15.8% on healthcare, food. They're spending 12% because older people tend to eat a little bit less because get kind of old. Transportation, they're spending 11%. Uh, cash contributions 9.1%. Entertainment 4.5%. Because they see, here's the thing, right? So across the board, the only ones that's spending a little bit less is less is Gen Z. And that's because probably Gen Z just be like streaming everything. You know what I'm saying? Gen Z probably is the most streaming of all of these people involved. Like, you could say silent generation, they probably still have cable TV, or they watch a rabbit antenna TV. You know what I'm saying? uh Generation X, we love TV, right? So we spend the most. You know what I'm saying? So let's just look at it things across the board to just get, just go through this real quick. So let's see here who spends the most. And then let's kind of just go from there. So Generation X spends the most on housing, 31.7%. Um 31 point 31.7% of spending. Well, actually, silent generation is spending a lot, 37.3% um of their spending. Let's see here. Who's spending the most? Okay, so Gen Z is spending, it's between Gen Z, Gen X, and silent generation. So silent generation probably is spending a lot because they have to have more things that's involved with just their housing, right? So they probably have to spend money on repairs. A lot of these people are in the nursing home, so they spending a lot of money on nursing home and home health care aides to stay in their home. um those are the reasons why they're spending probably a lot. But Generation X, and boomers and everybody else, they're trying to survive. And Gen Z is spending a lot because they got the brunt of the housing cost prices. They paying these, exorbitant amounts for rents and stuff like that for housing, you know what I'm saying? So they trying to survive and scratch to make it. Same thing that goes for millennials and Gen X. Boomers are trying to hold on to their real estate. So they paying, quite a bit for housing. Healthcare, let's look at this. So millennials spend quite a bit on healthcare. Wait, no. I'm looking at transportation. Okay. Oh, okay. I get it. Okay, so this is housing and it kind of spreads out. Okay, so the silent generation um spends the most on healthcare, about 15%, and Gen Z spends the least, about 3.3%, and Generation X 6.7, millennials 5.8, and boomers 10%. It's up there because they're starting to get older and whatnot. So food is kind of like very you know silent generation spends a lot less on food because they're older. Older people don't really eat that much. you know um Gen X spends the most. Gen X is some fat motherfuckers. I just have to say, we some fat asses. Generation X and millennials, some fat fuckers that need to do some drop down and do 100 push-ups a day, 100 sit-ups a day. I mean, we some fat ass, just Chipotle eating, dining out, carry out, Uber Eats, DoorDash, addicts, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, 12.5%, and this shit could be curtailed. Like, it's getting warmer. I gotta start, planting for my garden. You know what I'm saying? Like, to try to, get my garden going, you know what I'm saying? And millennials, yeah, like Gen Z spends right up with about the silent generation, but Gen Z still, a lot of them live with their parents. Let me see. Let me see what the stats are as far as Gen Z and millennials who lives with their parents still. Oh, okay, so it says 54% of Gen Zers live with their parents. So half of Gen Z, that's the reason why they, pretty much they ain't spending that much on food, because they their mama and daddy still cooking for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. You know, half of them living with their parents. So, like with me, I left at 18. I left, and I went and got an apartment. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna cap to you. My mom helped me with my apartment. My dad he sent me a kite or two to help me with my with my rent and some food. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like I was on my own. But I was on my own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Most of the others, like, mostly I was paying the rent and whatnot. I was working. I was using my financial aid money to pay for rent, you know. Then I came back home, then I left again, But yeah, it was a revolving door. But yeah, they say millennials, 25% of millennials still live with their parents. Okay. Let me see what they say about Gen X stats on living with their parents. Let's see here. I ain't gonna look up boomers living with their parents. Their parents dead. I mean, most of um baby boomers, they parents is dead. Let's see here. So I'm looking up the stats. I'm not, criticizing anybody for living with their parents. I lived with my parents all the way up to I was like 30, my mid early 30s. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not criticizing anybody. I think that's a good move to live with your parents. You know what I'm saying? Italians, they live with their mama. And then even if they got a house, they go back to live with their mama to get cooking, to get their clothes clean and shit like that. Man, Italians, man, shoot, man, telling you, that's the way to do it, man. Go to your mama house, get some food, you know what I'm saying? Come get your clothes clean till you can get you a woman, man, to do it for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Italians do. Uh let's see, this is a bunch of googly gob. Um Let's see what they're saying here. Trying to see what the stats are as far as Gen X living with their parents. Um, mm, this is what, boy. If you don't get your butt, it get out of here. Let's see here. Um, Let's see here. Okay, 5.5% of millennials, I mean no, Gen Xers live with their parents. Okay, yeah. So like less than 10% of Gen Xers live with their parents. But you know, like I said, I'm not faulting anybody. You know, they live that's a good financial move to live with your parents if you can put up with it. If your especially if your parents cool and you're not married or anything like that. Even if you've married, believe it or not, like some people they do that. That's actually called an extended family. The nuclear family is, you know, man, woman, child. The extended family is family lives with their grandparents, but or the grandparents live with them. You know, that's a extended family. A lot of Asians do that. Indians, a lot of Asians. That's how they live. Even Arabs, they do that. So yeah. So when it comes to transportation, the highest cost is boomers. They spend 15% on on uh on transportation. And this is what I'll say. And just personally, boomers love car notes. Man, boomers are some of the most, oh, I gotta impress you with my car ass generation that I know of. Like they really, and then Gen X too. Gen X followed by their boomer parents trying to front on with car notes, trying to front with car notes. They have that's why the spending on transportation is so high. This is the car notes. Facts. Car notes. These motherfuckers love fronting with car credit, car loan credit, fronting with car loan credit. And Gen Z is 7,000, I mean 19% of spending, uh which is high because Gen Z don't have a lot of money, you know, and then they spending money on Ubers and stuff like that and lifts. Silent ain't really going nowhere, so they ain't spending that much on transportation. And then some transportation is subsidized by like Medicare. Like after you get a certain age, you can get your like a lot of local municipalities, they have free transportation for elderly. Okay, a lot of people don't probably know that. You know, I'm gonna skip cash contributions. Entertainment, I've already talked about. Personal insurance and pensions. So this is the thing that basically is where Alonzo could kind of fit in a little bit more as far as real time. Um, I'm not sure if he'll be rejoining, but basically they're saying that Generation X is spending the most on personal insurance and pensions, which is basically retirement accounts. Um, Followed by millennials, and boomers are spending 10%. So basically boomers are already getting ready to retire, if not already retired, so not they're not spending that much. Then silent generation are already retired, so they're not spending that much of not of anything. um Gen Z is spending compared to they're spending like 9% because they're like fresh in the workforce. Millennials are spending 13.4%. So apparel services, we can kind of skip that. It's mute. Personal care, alcoholic beverages, you can skip all of that. So yeah, we got to the meat of all of that. So this is very good detailed data that you can use for your sales purposes. You know, so that's some pretty good detail there. Let me put this in the chat for your use if you want to actually read this detailed report. So that is all we have tonight. That is it. Hopefully this information was and this discussion was informative for you. So basically, gonna close things on out.
He said to me, my grandfather walked 10 miles to work every day. My father walked 5. I'm driving a Cadillac. My son is in a Mercedes. He said my grandson will be in a Ferrari. But he said my great-grandson will be walking again. So I asked him, I said, well, why is that? And he said to me, tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. He said to me, many will not understand, but you have to raise warriors.